The morning breaks and you feel the aches. Stepping out on the wrong side of bed. The carpet's burning, the wheels are turning, and all you see is red. Things can only get better in sunny weather, yeah, yeah, yeah. Feel like leaving a letter till things get better, yeah, yeah, yeah.
This episode of The Jeff Adams Show is brought to you by BitGravity. For mission-critical events, trust BitGravity by visiting bitgravity.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster 40. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information. And by GoDaddy. If you need a domain name or you need hosting, trust GoDaddy.com and use promo code Jeff199 at checkout.
Greetings! It is the Jeff Adams Show, episode number 32. After a long hiatus of 2 weeks off, we are back. And this is our last show ever on a Thursday. Network things change, seasons change, like the toilet paper in the crapper room. That's what happens. This is the Jeff Adams Show, number 32. It's a show that we try to have some fun. We talk about life problems, interview special guests, and try to bring a smile and a laugh to your face. You can now call and participate with a brand new number at 347-637-2596. That's 347-637-2596. If you're going to call in and do Macarena, don't want to hear that. So, without further ado, I want to introduce my special co-host today. He goes by the name of Raunch Foxxx on the interwebs. What is going on, Raunch Foxxx?
Jeff Adams, good to see you, buddy. My brother from another mother. You know, I like you, Jeff. I love you, in fact. If people ever seen us together, we'd be the Twin Towers. You're like, what, 6'6.5", something like that? I'm 6'10". I remember we got some looks when we went to the, when we went out in public, when you came to visit me out here in Arizona. That was kind of cool. And, of course, we did a little broadcast together. But you're a big dude, man. And, you know, the cool thing about it is two white boys with jumpers from the corner. So I feel you. We got synchronicity, and it's nice to be on with you today.
I'm glad that you're joining the Jeff Adams Show today. And it's just been one of those things. But also, he's not on camera today, but I also want to introduce the producer of the show, the Wizard of Broadcast Magic, Stephen Haywood, switching the cameras, making it all happen from Pennsylvania in the woods where he likes to hunt, kill things, and also do technology. That is Mr. Stephen Haywood of the Tech Buzz Network. Thanks so much. But before we get started, I want to thank GoDaddy, GoDaddy.com, for being a sponsor of the Jeff Adams Show. Right now, you can get $1.99 domains. Just check the banner down below. You can get a value. Domains, if you're looking to start a website, you know, you got a crazy blog that you want to start, or, you know, any crazy thing, GoDaddy is your place where you can get what you need. GoDaddy.com is a great sponsor for the Jeff Adams Show. They have been for some time, and the TTB Network together. So get your domain for $1.99 and tell them, and use the Jeff Adams code down below, and make sure that I can get credit so I can stay on the air. So, Raunch Foxxx, it's been a while. I think we've known each other through the interwebs first, and what, about 5 years?
Actually, I think it's longer than that. I was going to say close to, we've known each other at least 7. I'm going all the way back to, what was it, SAMP 700 or something like that?
Yeah, my music industry vlog.
Right. And you were doing the Christian production. You had a good group back in the day.
Back in the day? Yeah.
Man.
Back in the day. It's crazy. A lot of things changing here. I'm glad you're joining us today, but you know, lots of changes coming up here at the Jeff Adams Show. Actually, we have a new show time, which will be Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the Tech Buzz Network. You know, Stephen Haywood got a bigger show, and pushed me back. It's a ratings thing. So I'm on the hump day slot at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesdays now. Now, next week, when we start our new time, will be our last show until in January, because the TTB network takes time off during the holidays, and who wants to watch blog TV shows or, vlog video stream stuff during Christmas? Spend time with your family, for crying out loud. So remember that, we are moving to Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and this will be our last show on Thursdays. And there you go. There's a hump day thing for you. Wow. Hump day. I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about, hey, on Wednesday, I'll think of all the hump day jokes I can do. Lame. But we'll be back January 15th, 2014 with a brand new show. And some of you are asking, where is the Mary Monk and Sharon? With the new time change, they're no longer to be involved in the show because of their schedules. The Mary Monk is teaching a class 6 p.m. on Wednesdays, and Sharon is actively in the theater, and she's in full-time school. So didn't really work out. I mean, 6 p.m. is kind of tough for me. That's my dinner hour, Raunch. I like to eat then.
I understand that. At least once a day.
Once a day. No, 3 or 4 times a day. I like to eat. How many times do you eat a day?
Actually, I try to do it every 2 hours. Smaller stuff. Keep the metabolism going. I've dropped about 48 pounds, in the last 7 months. So, keep it
That's
going.
good.
Thanks to my better half now, who's a total freak with eating healthy and all of that good stuff. So, no more donuts, no more Reese cups. I do sneak a few chocolate Raisinets every once in a while. But other than that, that's a lot of vegetables and a lot of water and, basic stuff. Just, I look at food as fuel now as opposed to enjoyment. Like, this is good. Now you just, you fuel your body so you can do good things.
Yeah, I was doing that for a while. Me and the Mary Monk would do this check-in, the weigh-in check-in, and he motivated me to lose weight, and he was losing weight. We would do this check-in every week, and then he just kind of gave up, and I gave up. So I need to get back on a schedule of working out and making a difference in my body.
Yeah, easy to do, easy to give up. You can only pass drive-through so many days.
Well, I do a lot.
It is what it is. But yeah, we've known each other for 7 years, at least 7 years. And, so, we've seen a lot of things. We've done a lot of things. We've participated in a lot of things. And we've seen some of the crazies out there in the broadcast arena through all these social media platforms. And, of course, podcasts. And, of course, your stories with artists. I mean, hopefully we're going to share some of those stories here.
And, let me ask you this before we get into, talking crazies. Have you ever, wrote a joke? And, I'm just, testing out my comedy skills. I would never do stand-up comedy in a million years. I mean, people that do stand-up have a lot of cojones, It's just, it would be extremely stressful, especially if you're an insecure person, and you're doing stand-up. I just would never want to do it. It would be very, very uncomfortable, I mean, did you ever used to do stand-up or anything?
We just did open mic nights, you know what I'm saying? We just open mic nights. And back in the days of insecurity or whatever, it's like, oh my God, are they going to laugh? Are they going to laugh? But it's like when I do my broadcast. We roll, we do things. Of course, it's nice to have a laugh track. So if they don't laugh, you've always got somebody there to laugh for you.
I know, right? That's always a comfort thing.
I'll tell you what. I did something once. Hallmark put a contest out that said, design a card, and you can win $250. So I said, okay, well, let me think about it. And I had a card, and the front of the card said, what has 4 legs and the most uncontrollable sexual appetite known to mankind? Then you open the card, it says us. And I got paid.
Boom.
So I said, hey, maybe I should be a writer. But anyway, that was my first attempt at writing anything. And they actually took it and made a card out of it back in the day again.
Wow, you still get money off that?
No, they paid you one time, and then they went on and did their thing. But as far as jokes, I the one-liners or whatever, but I'm like, it's like, oh, gee, what if they don't laugh? I mean, I really do respect the guys that get up on stage and do that. I mean, I'm not shy at all. I don't care. But, I like I like the harder core, like the old style, like the old Don Rickles and Rodney Dangerfield. I love Jackie Martling that used to be on. Jackie Martling has literally almost had me drive off the road in tears. So that's the old school humor that I'm used to growing up, and that's the stuff that I enjoy.
Yeah, I just don't know if I was talking to a comedian a couple weeks ago. We had lunch, and he was talking about that. He goes, "Hey, you ever think about doing stand up?" I said, "Absolutely not." I mean, the funny thing is, you write something, you think it's funny, and I was tweeting last night, and I actually woke up this morning and go, "Why the heck did I write these?" Listen to this one. I've noticed that fast food chain Chick-fil-A is like a Beverly Hills High of fast food. It's like all the popular kids work there, but over at the other table across the street, you have McDonald's and Burger King, where the blended kids all work. Not so popular. See, I woke up this morning and go, why did I even write that?
It's like a Mormon thing, right?
Yeah, it's just like a random thing. And then this is actually true. I had a paranormal group follow me on Twitter. They sent me a tweet out that says, "Do trees communicate?" Now, that's a fascinating thing. Do trees actually communicate?
Avatar, then you already know the answer.
Do they?
Well, according to Avatar, every living thing is tied into a network, and we all communicate.
That's right. But the trees really communicate. It's just bizarre stuff. We're going to get into the crazies in a minute.
You 6'6", 6'10", we communicate with trees on a daily basis. Nobody else can hear us.
Boom, boom. And did you ever go to counseling, Ray?
For
anything?
No, not at all. At one time, when I was married, I was going to go to a marriage counselor and say, let's save the marriage. Let's save the marriage. So I go to a marriage counselor and find out she's divorced. And I let her have it right there. I said, why are we even here talking to you? And she said, well, I can at least get you ready and prepare you for the divorce. I said, not at your hourly rate, honey. We're out of here. And we stayed together a few more years after that. True story.
I've been to a lot of counselors. I actually wrote this last night. I said, have you ever been to a counselor and you tell them something and they respond, I'm sorry to hear that? And why'd you ask? I've been to every counselor that I've ever been to. They always say, I'm sorry to hear that, Jeff. Are they really sorry? I don't think so. They just want to
sympathize, empathize, and make me feel better. That's why I'm here talking to you.
Yeah. All right. Let's take a short, quick break here, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some crazies here on the Jeff Adams Show.tv with special co-host today, Raunch Foxxx, the Raunch Foxxx Network.
It's go time. It's go time. Go, Daddy.
And we are back here on the Jeff Adams Show.tv with special co-host today, Raunch Foxxx. Glad to have you. We're just kind of shooting the breeze, doing our due. He's live from, how do you do that? That's pretty impressive.
Why am I doing that? I'm doing that because of Van Damme when he goes.
Oh, yeah. But, it's sad. I'm glad that GoDaddy's a sponsor of our show here. But it's, what is up with that guy? To the point where I've heard, we're talking about crazy. So this is a good segue. Speaking of which, that's what I always say. Speaking of which, this guy, I've heard some crazy stuff about this guy, and he's doing GoDaddy stuff now.
So have I. Real life stuff too, but I'll tell you that. I'll wait and see what you got and see if I can top it.
Well, I just heard that he's a big, pervert in real life.
Yeah.
He would make up these film script stuff, and it wasn't even a film, and he'd have women come in and tell them to remove their tops and undress and do all this crazy stuff to try to get a role in a film that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, well, he actually got affiliated with a few strippers in Baltimore he'd come into the strip clubs. And another, we're talking about Von Damme. Another guy was Bruce Willis. That's another story. But Von Damme used to do, they said he was a freak. They absolutely said he was a freak. I heard that as well. And without getting into any detail, which probably we couldn't talk about here, but maybe in another platform, that's exactly what I heard.
Yeah, it's just some, it's kind of the topic today. Everything's changing. I feel like I'm going crazy, but I'm not really crazy. Just, the seasons change. And, most of you know or don't know, I used to work in the music industry. And I said, hey, well, I used to do this music industry, blog, vlogcast, whatever you want to call it. That's how I met Raunch Foxxx. I used to do music industry updates when I was managing these groups. And so, a year ago, I said, hey, I'm going to start this new podcast called The Jeff Adams Show. I said, I want to just kind of get away from the crazies, the music industry. And, all these artists, crazy, you got to take pills and they're just so moody and this, that, and the other. I said, I'm just going to go in this podcast world. Just seems like the right move. And as I get into this podcast world, I find out there's more crazies here than there is in the friggin' music industry. I mean, but I guess there's crazies everywhere. Everywhere you look. It's just not podcasters and artists. It's pretty much everybody. So I just I don't get it. I don't get a lot of these podcasters.
Well, I'll tell you what I've found out with podcasters, a lot of these guys lack true interactive social skills. So they'd rather sit there and do a podcast alone, almost as if you want to use a comparison, think about just walking into a room by yourself and just start talking, right? So these guys sit there in their own world. They can be anybody they want to be in their own mind. Obviously, you can be anybody you want to be on the internet. I mean, a lot of people think I'm a 6'10" white guy in Arizona, when in fact, I'm a 5'2" black dude in Alaska. But you can be anybody you want. And with that being said, I had a guy on one of my shows once. He was a Fed, and he was what was called a IT forensics expert. And basically his job was to profile people. And he would get deep when he'd get a case. And it was one of the best shows I think I've ever done. We had a really cool audience. He would actually show how you profile people. You look at how they text. You look at what they type in the chat rooms. You look at their emails. And he was nailing the crazies, if you will, just by profiling them for what they were saying on the keyboard. And you could always tell. It showed the point where you could say, well, this person's trying to fake and be something they're not. But they'd always have some type of a quip or some type of a thing that they would say that would say, wait a minute, that guy's nuts. So IT forensics, very cool, a very real Fed position, especially when you're looking for the pedophiles and the murderers and the people that try to lure and do all. And now the big thing, the bullying thing. So lots of crazies out there. But from a professional standpoint, he could pinpoint them before they even realized they were caught.
Yeah, it's just, I think. Did I see Andrew Zarian? Is Andrew in here? The chat room?
He made a comment about Chuck Zito kicking Von Damme's butt at Scores. That's true. I actually heard the same thing.
Yeah, Andrew, there was this person. This kind of spawned this conversation. Me and Andrew talked on the phone a couple of days ago about somebody that I talked to on the phone once, and then they called him and was asking all this stuff, and there was a confusion because he was going by 3 different names or 2 different names. And I just like, man, these people are crazy. What, I understand, you have to have like a podcast alias, but, different names and whatnot. I kind of dropped my name. It was an old rap name. It was stupid. So I just went with my real name. But I just don't understand the crazies out here. There's just a lot of crazies that live in this false reality of, I'm famous and come look at me and look what I can do and me and it gets old. I don't claim to have it all together. I'm just doing this show just to try to be creative and stay sane mostly. It's just a growing thing that I'm doing and getting better in time. And I just don't have time for crazies. I've working with artists, I've got tons of stories of, working with crazies. And the more I deal with this podcast stuff, it's just a small network of crazies. They're all crazy. Everybody, stinking one of them. They all have these problems. They're like mad artists, and it's a lot like, you know, Raunch, you come from a radio background. It's a lot like a lot of the radio DJs. They're all in a competition with each other to be the biggest and baddest of them all. And I just don't understand all that.
Right. Way too much ego. Just do your thing. You got a space and time, you know, enjoy it. You know, but again, a lot of these people, they just, they put themselves on an imaginary pedestal at the top, if you will. You know, I mean, think about it. Land-based terrestrial radio took Howard Stern over 20 years to get syndicated, you know, and really hit it big. Today, if you got a microphone, a camera, and a decent connection, your first show, your first broadcast, your first podcast, you go worldwide from day one. Wasn't like that a long time ago in the old days of radio, where they really had to do what they had to do. And then, of course, you've got the brokered radio people as well. I mean, people like Larry King and Rush Limbaugh and the college, what's her name, Dr. I can't remember her name now, but these guys and girls, they spent over $100,000 of their own money going around just buying airtime, trying to be discovered, if you will. Larry King in the 50s used to drive around in a pink Cadillac, spent over $100,000 of his money back in the 50s. That was huge before he got discovered. And, you know, the rest is history. So same thing nowadays with podcasts. You can take people like Adam Carolla, who ended up having the #1 podcast. He came out of nowhere and just jammed it, and he did it. But then you got other guys like from the old free FM days, CBS, like Tom Likas, the professor. I don't know if you've ever heard of him on the East Coast, but he was pretty well known. Now he's got a podcast and he's got a website. So a lot of these people, they were making big bank money. They just took some of that money, they invested it back and said, okay, let's just go international. Let's go worldwide again, but let's do it under our rules, with no corporate structure whatsoever. Don't tell us what to do, because this is our network. Just like, even though, you know, you have a certain guideline that you follow here on the network, it's still your show and you have complete creative control. So, but a lot of these guys, they push the envelope, and then hence they're labeled crazy.
Yeah, but, you know, I'll be honest with you. I mean, when I first, you know, we met over the internet, and I met you in real life, you were completely different than your, you know, I was like, man, what is this guy going to be like? Is this guy going to, you know, pick me up and, you know, treat me bad? And I was like surprised. I said, this guy is completely different than what he is on the air, you know, stand-up guy, man. He took me out to dinner, and
who would have believed it, right? Who would have believed it? But anyway, I got a big heart, a big guy, I'm a big teddy bear. You know, the old days of the rants and the trolls. I'm past that now. You know, we're almost 10 years into this stuff, and now, to be very honest, when we do broadcasts, we've got a nice base, if you will. They're just a few years older now. You know, we'll get the trolls occasionally, but most of the time now, we either end up banning somebody, or a lot of these quote unquote trolls we convert, and now they're regulars at these shows. But for me, you know, I'm a workaholic. I do a lot of things. I do more than one day than a lot of people do in a week, and I'm sure you understand that. And it's actually a release to be able to do this, but people are saying, why don't you get back and do the Raunch Foxx thing? Well, I'm doing some things with NBC Sports Radio, with the MMA UFC. I'm doing the imaging for that show at MMAfightradio.com, which is totally cool.
Oh, wow.
I've got some great guests that are going to be coming up in January. I've got one of the guys that's the top 10% of stuntmen. Been doing it over 20 years. It was a very close friend of Paul Walker, and was actually one of the drifters in Fast and Furious, and he's got quite an IMDb resume. He will be on the show, and he's actually Will Smith's best friend. And I'm going to put it out there. He says, Ray, if you ever want to talk to Will Smith, I can call him with my cell phone and you can say hello. And I'm thinking, well, you know, you've got connections. Maybe we'll take it a step further. So if I do get to that level again, I'm going to take the Foxxcast and rise it up to another level on another network, obviously, because where I'm at right now, it's limited. It's more of a friendship type of thing. But, you know, like I say, you got a lot of things coming too when you're changing your time, and you got that new slot. You know, so again, am I going to keep the Raunch Foxx thing around? Yeah, I will, only because it's been around for 10 years. If you Google Raunch Foxx, it's like 40 pages deep. Back in the day, we did crazy things as well. You know, I consider myself one of those crazies that you were talking about. I went into a prison and interviewed the Black Widow serial killer while on death row. And then I had Yoko Ono on my show the same week that John David Chapman was supposed to, you know, get on parole. Of course, he's never going to be paroled. But she was hiding in her condo in New York City doing a broadcast with me on a network that I used to be a GM of called Renegade Talk Radio. and it was a publicly traded company. And, I had Shirley Phelps from Westboro Baptist Church, and guys in the Army were trying to hack, and not the Army itself, but there were soldiers that hated her. They were trying to knock us offline with Stickam. They gave us a separate server for that show. We had over 70,000 viewers just on the network, and that doesn't count the people that were logging in when we had the players going out all over the internet. So, like you say, I get into that, but then when you come to my house, Raunch Foxx is over here, is in the studio. He's not. Now you're just hanging with Big Ray, and so what you see is what you get with me. Not necessarily when I'm Raunch Foxx, but when you're with me, what you see is what you get. I'm a pretty simple dude.
Pretty simple dude. We're getting a little bit of that today. I mean, your stick. I mean, speaking, I got two questions for you too. You were talking about trolls. How in the world do you convert a troll?
Well, let's face it. They want to disrupt. They got shallow egos. They don't do what you do. They see something in you that they love and they want to do, or they just want to come in and mess with you, and it just gives them their jollies to say, okay, I screwed that guy up, or I got my notice, or I shifted the show, or whatever. So now the best way to deal with it is just go with the flow and agree with them. Yeah, you're right about my mom. Yeah, you're right about my receding hairline. Yeah, you're right about my fat face. Yeah, you're right. I agree. Okay, so now that we've agreed, you're going to stick around, or am I going to ban you? So, you just deal with it. I mean, 5 years ago, I'd want to battle all of them. Like, oh, really? Take it to heart. But nowadays, life's too short. Understand that you will never control that other person. You can only control how you react. And my new saying is, whatever someone else thinks about you is none of your business.
Yeah, that's true. It's very, very true. That's a nice little tidbit there. Hey, also I wanted to ask you too. I mean, we're talking about broadcasting, and we're not. I think it was like 2007. I started getting into this stuff. I was like, wow, I was trying to push artists to, hey, video blog with your base, and I got on a place called Blog TV. And I think you were actually one of the first people that I actually saw, even on Stickam and Blog TV, actually, taking time and thinking of doing and producing a show more like a radio show. I mean, you're kind of like one of the forefathers that were actually doing it before anybody else was doing it with the Raunch Foxx show.
Yeah, well, it was a full production. The original Foxx cast was myself. Jen was better known as J-Ray, and then we had a guy named Greggy C. out of Philadelphia and a guy named Yamagu. But then when that show was over, I had the Raunch Foxx Network, and it was a full day show. And we had Dr. Lego and Zolar and a guy named Bob VH, and and Jen did a show. And when I found out that there was a network paying, I decided to take it a whole new level. And that was, of course, when we went to Blog TV. Blog TV, I'm here to tell you, we made bank at Blog TV when they were still out of Tel Aviv. And they were paying us per unique viewer, 10 cents per unique viewer, and a $500 service fee back in the day. But now that's all said and done and passed. And Kara Hanna and everybody, those of you that know Blog TV know these names, we were not allowed to say a single word about getting paid. Because if we did, we would not get paid. And for 14 months strong, they paid us the first Monday of every month, straight out of Tel Aviv. And it was a nice proposition and a nice business venture for us until the YouTubers came and promised them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, completely irritated the investors. That money went away. They converted to a rev share. And there was people that would broadcast every single day of the month, 30, 31 days, every single day, and only make a couple $100 for the month. So things change. But I was in there as the second paid contracted show on Blog TV. The first was Brian Gramo with the Stream.tv.
That's right.
But I had to, I got in touch with Arn and the powers that be in Tel Aviv, and we would literally talk on Skype, said, I'm going to bring you tens of thousands of people from Stickam over here, and it became exclusive, and we ran it for about 14 months strong, and no complaints whatsoever.
Yeah, I met Brian, too. I was out in L.A., and when he was starting off, I went to his studio, and I think I watched, I did the show, I guess I got contracted with Blog TV and did a show called Blog TV Live, where they would review what's going on Blog TV or whatever. But right. Brian has been doing it a long time too, and he was, I think a lot of people in LA have copied, what he was originally doing, taking, frustrated artists and, they all paying time and paying rent to do their own shows. And now you've seen a lot of celebrities popping up. Like you have the Video Podcast Network and Norm Macdonald and, all these guys are starting these podcast shows now that are really successful because of, who they are. But we're talking about podcasting, talking to a legend here on the Jeff Adams Show. We're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. We're going to get into some crazy stories coming up next on the Jeff Adams Show.
It's tough when no one's hiring. I mean, Bigfoot shows are just non-existent on TV anymore. I need work. This is some of my highlight reel best moments of me playing Bigfoot. So if you have a movie or you're, need a Bigfoot, I'm your guy. This was one of my serious roles where I played Bigfoot, and it's called The Stop and Stare. It takes a lot of talent to pull this off, a lot. Classic walk and stare at the camera, a lot of talent. This was only one take. It did not retake anything. Total pro. When you hire me, I can do this in one take, easy. And this is my classic run with the football, bounce the head up one time. Very hard to do, but like I said, I'm the pro to get the job done.
And we're back here on the Jeff Adams Show.tv. Sad endings, new beginnings. Our last Thursday broadcast here on the TTV network, but we're moving to Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, hump days. And I have a wonderful co-host, Raunch Foxxx, with me today. We're talking about crazies and podcasting and all different sorts of all kinds of crazy nonsense. But hey, guys, if you want to interact with us, give us a call, 347-637-2596. New number. Give us a call. No Macarena prank calls. Participate. Ask some questions, whatever. You're talking to a legend of video broadcasting, Raunch Foxxx, still doing it, launching the show again in January. But, we're talking about crazies. I actually have a funny crazy story.
Okay.
It's with, it's about a Baldwin, not Alec Baldwin, but one of the other brothers, Stephen Baldwin. And, we're talking about crazy, DJs, podcasters, artists, famous people. And it just, I don't know. Well, Stephen Baldwin found Christ many years ago, but I think, my run-in with him was very interesting, because I think once you do all those drugs, over and over, it doesn't matter if you accept Christ, there's just something not right inside your head. He's sane, but it just was a bizarre meeting up I had with Stephen Baldwin. I was up at in Nashville, Tennessee, several years ago at a thing called GMA Week, where all these music industry people, they showcase things and they just do all these showcases. Everybody's pitching their music and whatnot. And so I see Stephen Baldwin, and he was bizarre. He had this, artsy fartsy hat, and, he wasn't riding the car. There's this hotel down in Nashville, Tennessee, downtown. I think it's at the convention center. I can't remember the name of the hotel. Maybe it's a Renaissance hotel. That's what it is. And all the conventions there, but there's all these bars and stuff. So all these people rent out all these bars. And Stephen Baldwin would, ride around on a skateboard back and forth to his little shindigs. And so I had a band I was representing. I was sitting there, and Stephen Baldwin's in this, in this room. And I was like, man, that's Stephen Baldwin. What's he doing here? So just kind of sitting there. And so long story short, my friend had a record company, and it was his showcase. And all of a sudden he goes, hey, let me introduce you to Jeff Adams. He's here. And I said, hey, how's it going? He goes, hey, how's it going, Stephen Baldwin, man? And nice to meet you, and this, that, and the other. And I said, so, what are you doing here? He goes, oh man, I want to start a Christian record company. I was like, oh wow, okay, well, at the time I was working with Jeff Hansen, that managed Creed and all this other stuff, and he was starting a Christian side of what they do, and we were taking these trips up to New York and Nashville every other week, and so I thought I'd give him some advice. I said, well, Steve, I said, where are you from? And he says, oh, I'm from New York, man, New York. I said, well, cool. I said, you probably don't want to waste your time coming down here in Nashville. Just stay up in New York and, just go up there, talk to the executives, because those people up in New York are the bosses of the people down in Nashville. So you're wasting your time. I said, have you talked to Sonny Red? And something with this guy something just snapped. He kind of just looked at me and he tilted his head and he goes, Sonny Red ain't some punk ass bitches. I got the biggest distributor in the world. It's called the Holy Spirit. I'm like, all right. I started looking around in the room and I'm like, I have to be on one of these shows called Punked right now. This can't be real. This guy just said he has the biggest distributor in the world called the Holy Spirit, and he just said punk ass bitches, and all in the same sentence. I said, so this cannot be real. And so he goes on and goes on and goes on, and I'm just like, wow, this can't happen. And then he just like calms down and goes, hey man, here's my number. Give me a call, man. I'd like to talk to you some more. So long story short, I just say, called my boss and I said, you're never going to guess what just happened to me. I ran into Stephen Baldwin and he just went off on me. He goes, well, it's funny that you said that, because, my boss was big time. He was running around in a limo in Nashville, and he goes, he's standing in front of my limo right now. And so my boss hands the phone to Stephen Baldwin. He goes, hello? And I said, Sonny Red ain't some punk ass bitches. And he goes, what? Who is? Oh, wait a minute. I just talked to you. And he was so wigged out, from the fact that I just, I punked him back, and it was just odd that he knew, it was just an odd guy. And I believe, Raunch, you have a crazy Baldwin story too, don't you?
Well, first of all, there's one main vein that runs through Billy, Steven, and Alec, and that is a temper factor. And those are three guys where what you see is not what you get. They do the public persona, but of course now Alex going off the deep end every other day, and it happens as you get older. It gets to the point where you just don't care, whereas before he probably guarded his image. But Billy came to Baltimore, and a buddy of mine who had this male strip show review was connected with a lot of people, and Billy came to town, and Billy had a little nose candy problem. And the guy that was my friend had the opportunity to forward Billy an 8-ball, if you will. And we locked him in a hotel. He stayed in that hotel in Baltimore at the Inner Harbor the entire weekend while we partied with his limo, went all over town for 3 days. And that's that story. But he would go into between him and then the following week, Charlie Sheen came to town. That's another story. But those two guys were hardcore party animals, and I had firsthand experience with Billy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these things, these people, the crazies, I mean, they have some kind of, addictive lifestyle of some sort, that persona. And it's just odd. I think that's, a lot what I got sick of dealing with artists in general. It's just they're just all loony, and they have addictive personalities. Some people do, some people don't, and a lot of creative people have addictive personalities. Let's just face the facts. I mean, a lot of these, Raunch, these DJs. I was just catching up with some of these local DJs a couple of days ago, and there was a guy named Shannon Burke in Orlando. He had the Shannon Burke show that was on Real Radio 104.1, and he actually shot. He was in a drunken rage, and he shot. I guess his wife let the dog out or something. He got mad, and he went to try to shoot her, missed her, shot the dog in the leg, and then his wife didn't press charges. He lost his job with Clear Channel a couple years ago, and then I just, it's like going through. There's the station here in Tampa, Florida, called The Bone, where Bubba the Love Sponge is. It's his home base, and Shannon Burke is actually on his show now. And then I started, there's another guy that was on Real Radio 104.1 called Drew Garabo. who's now with the Bone. And then I, start following him on Twitter and interaction. And these guys are just, going at each other, and they're on the same network. And I just like, these guys are absolutely crazy. And if you're Bubba the Love Sponge, why do you have to continue to put people down when you have all that money in the first place?
Well, he's been through the mill. I mean, when I think of Bubba now, I don't think of Bubba the Love Sponge and the show anymore. I think about Bubba the Love Sponge, whose wife Hulk Hogan banged. That's the first thing that comes to mind now. So he stays on top of that. But getting back to, and only because of time constraints, we talked about broadcasters. In my days, back in the days of Stickam, I saw some of the craziest and the most perverted and the most sick people that I think would ever have hit a broadcast market. Even though you're talking about podcasting, my niche is the social platforms themselves. I'm going to put a picture up here. See if you remember these guys. Anybody remember the names of these two fellas? And that is fellow on the left.
Hey, Raunch, I got 2 calls. I'm going to take one call in here real quick.
Okay.
Hang on a second. Hey, it's Jeff Adams. You're on the air.
Hey, Jeff, it's Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I called. I saw Raunch is on, and I said I gotta give a call in because you guys are my crazies, and he just said it right before I was going to say it on the air. He's seen a lot of the crazies. Good to hear from you, Mr. Zarian.
Good to hear from you.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Hey, everything's well. Good. Yeah, I just got affiliated with the was it the IAIB?
I don't know why, but Raunch is really low. I can barely hear him.
All right, hang on a second.
And a 1, 2, 3, 4, A to Z. Andrew Zarian, live from New York, who knows that Baldwin was from Long Island. How's that?
Is that better, Andrew?
A little bit better, yeah.
I'm trying this new.
I mean, who doesn't have a crazy Baldwin story? I mean, I think everybody has a Baldwin story somewhere.
Do you have a crazy Baldwin story, Andrew?
Yeah, I saw him running down the 34th Street in Manhattan one day, screaming, "I'm going to be free," or "I think I'm free." He was just screaming and running down the street.
How long ago was this?
Oh God, maybe like 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Wow, man! Like I think everybody has a Stephen
running down 34th Street like a maniac.
I think everybody has a Stephen Baldwin story. He's been around the block and then some.
One of the craziest, actually funny but nutty radio guy story that I have is who's that? Raunch would know. Who's a sports guy from New York that went down to Florida? He got bumped a bunch of times. I want to say Rosenberg.
Was it Rosenberg?
Hey, Ron, switch your picture back. You got those.
Oh yeah, well, I want to get back to this story before we hit the end of the show because you're gonna like that.
Yeah.
See if we can bring you back. There we go. Hello, I'm back. All right, I'm not. I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure. It wasn't Mike Goldberg because he's with the UFC now. I had an opportunity to be on a show with him the other day, but Rosenberg, I'm not sure. But finish your story, Andrew.
There you go, Sid. He was on SNY and he got bumped. He was on WFAN here in New York, and he was down in Miami, WAXY for a while. I was driving in Manhattan. I was going to go do a show in Manhattan, and he's pulled over his Lexus. He got like a flat tire, and this guy takes out just like a crowbar, like not a crowbar, but what he like to fix the tire on his car, and he just starts nailing it to the side of his car. Just starts beating the crap out of his car, screaming. This is like in rush hour traffic in Manhattan. Everybody was just sitting there watching him, and he was a middle person at that time.
Crazies. You know, we've got a little.
That's my crazy radio guy story.
Yeah, yes. I'm glad Andrew called, Raunch, because earlier this week, I think what I've noticed with these podcast things, you say you know somebody or you're acquainted with somebody. Someone contacted Andrew that I never met before and said I referred them to him. And I think I talked to the guy one time on the phone, and I was, Andrew goes, "Hey, can I call you?" And I was like, I was all confused, and he said, "This guy's, his name is so-and-so." I said, "I don't know that guy." And he says, "Well, he says he knows you." And I'm like, "No, I don't know him." And it was just very bizarre. And come to find out, this guy has 3 aliases that he goes by. and he was using this one name, said I referred him to Andrew about this, that, and the other. And I was like, and I was confused because I had him by another name. And I just said, Andrew, these people are just crazy out here. What is the deal? You know? And it's the same thing with Andrew. I met Andrew face to face. I did the free for all. I think it was back in August. And I was like, man, what is this guy going to be like? You know, he picked me up. Same scenario. Really nice guy. Bought me dinner. Bought me some drinks. And nothing like he is on the air, man. Nothing.
Exactly. You know, it is what it is. We do what we do. And I tell you, he came on and started doing that show, GFQ, back in the day. And he's really one of the first ones that caught my eye after I was doing my shows for so long. And I said, this guy's got, he's doing full production value as well. He's putting a lot of work into his show. Like this crazy character. There's a Channel 69 that's out there, a guy named Travis out of West Virginia. He put so much production into his show. But yeah, I really enjoyed watching GFQ back in the day.
Yeah, he's
Same here, man. I was a big Raunch fan. I used to check it out all the time. You've been doing it longer than me, but I remember checking you out, and I'm like, oh my god, this guy is nuts. This show is insane.
It was insane.
So, I'm glad you said that, because I'm looking at your clock here. I want to do this again because it's what I'm talking about. Andrew, stay with us because you may know these characters. Let me see if I can get back to this image. These two guys here, this is because I could tell you 20 stories. This is the top of the notch. You talk about crazies. The guy on the left, Jeffree Star, who's an international model, fashion designer, all pro, lives out in Beverly Hills now. But the guy on the right, his name is John Hawk. And John Hawk, I actually met him because he lives in Arizona. And he came to my house with another guy, and we did some broadcasts back in the day. And then about a year or so later, it was about October of 2010. I don't know if you remember this story, but John Hawk was a guy that got prison time because he had a case of what was called alleged online sexual assault that went viral. And back in the day,
that was a big story.
Yeah, he was only 22 at the time. He pleaded guilty to 2 counts of attempted sexual assault, 1 count of voyeurism. He was sentenced to lifetime probation. He had to register as a sex offender. He was dating a girl, and 2 weeks later, he brought her to his house, and she got drunk. Supposedly, she was underage, and they ended up actually engaging on camera with he was doing what he was doing, taking advantage of her. So now there he is. You can see his picture. He's on the right. And now what I want to do is I want to show you what he looks like today. It looks like prison did the boy good because he looks like either he's, let's see, here's a picture. Here he is now. Same guy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there he is. Doesn't look too thrilled. Been locked up a long time. Same guy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, looks like he was eating well in prison.
Locked up a long time. Yeah, we're getting an echo somewhere.
It looks like he was eating well in prison.
Yeah, we're getting
coming from
now. Same guy. There you go. Yeah, it's him. So that's one of the crazier stories of the crazies back in the day on these stick-hand platforms.
Wow. Hey, well, we got another call. Andrew, stay on the line. Let me punch in this other call here. New phone line's working great. Hey, you're on the Jeff Adams Show. Who is this?
This is Bubba Bo Beard.
Oh, the Bubba Bo Beard. What is up?
Bubba.
It just ain't right, man.
It just ain't right, Bubba. What's going on?
You know what? You don't know what ain't right. Here I have to call myself into your radio show to defend myself. You talking about these crazy?
Well, you are pretty crazy, dude. Yeah, I must admit, you're one of those comedians. So,
I tell you about being crazy. You remember that time that Sasquatch-looking thing from Orlando, and that big tall guy from Phoenix, Arizona?
Oh yeah,
that Bubba Bo Beard Raz song.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Bubba Bo Beard. We did that. We did the broadcast together. But when I think of you, Bubba, I think of like putting ketchup on prime rib. You just don't do it. Just like your accent. I know you're with a guy from Scotland doing something else. It was like ketchup and prime rib. But you guys were a unique duo with you and Boothie.
Jim Booth. Boothie.
You know, funny thing.
I'm going to Scotland in May.
How'd you?
He came over here and spent some time with me.
How'd you afford to go to Scotland, and how are you going to afford to do that? They're taking the food stamps now and stuff?
Well, my boy got on food stamps,
Okay. There you go.
and he's helping out around the house now. That helps a little bit, so I'm able to afford to go to Scotland.
I wish I had the picture.
And I'm all
I wish I had the picture on me. But if you ever want to know what this guy looks like, I actually posted something a couple weeks ago. I was watching The Wizard of Oz, and I was like, my Lord, Bubba Bo Beard looks like the lion in The Wizard of Oz. I like did a side by side face shot of it, and the guy is a spitting image of the lion from The Wizard of Oz. So if you ever wonder what Bubba Bo Beard looks like, he looks like the lion from The Wizard of Oz.
Little Ray Bolger-ish.
Yeah.
Hey,
Give me some courage.
please.
Yes. Go ahead.
Ron Fox, are you there?
Absolutely.
Hey, when does your show come on? Because I always seem to miss it.
Oh, it just there's no set schedule right now. You know, we're VaughnLive.tv. Just if you make yourself a friend or subscribe, or you can go to my Facebook page. You just go to Facebook, type in Raunch Foxx official page, and you'll see it there. Or go to raunchfox.com. Go to the official website. There's always something on there for everybody, including Jeff and this show will be up there by the end of the day.
I want to tell you something, Ray. Ron Fox, you do a good job, man. I don't know how many people you got working for you if you do that by yourself, but you put a lot of effort, time, and effort into it. And I know that Jeff's putting a lot of time and effort into his show, but you guys are going to make it. Actually, you're getting too old to really make it. But y'all going to do all right.
That.
Yeah, well, bad business. I opened a tall man shop in Tokyo, and I went bankrupt in 2 weeks, so I'm coming back to broadcasting.
Mine is pretty much, it's an art form that's lost, like in the 50s.
Well, there it is, right there.
There he is. Give me some courage. Of course, you got to do it in a hillbilly. Give me some courage.
That's see, there he is.
Anyway, y'all keep up the good work. I just thought I'd call in and tell you that it just ain't right, some of the stuff y'all been doing.
All right,
Good.
Bubba Beard.
Good
Thanks
to hear
for
from you.
calling, man.
Yeah, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right, Bubba.
Andrew, you still there? Andrew,
Yeah, man, I'm here.
are you still doing pills?
What kind? Like sleeping pills?
I don't know, man. When I tune into the free for all, it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, rat-a-tat-tat. Do you? Let me ask you this. I mean, you do a lot. You got a stressful situation. Talking about crazies. Do you think?
Very stressed.
Do you think you're on the verge of crazy?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not normal. I mean, I know that. But the thing is, I know I'm not normal. I know that I'm a little out there. I think the problem is a lot of, like, the real crazy. They have no concept of them being nuts.
Yeah.
That's the difference, because we all have a dark side, and you're lying if you say you don't, folks. Each and every one of you watching this show right now. We all have a dark side of some type of an alter ego. And mine's not Raunch Foxx. I do other crazy stuff too. But, at the end of the day, I'm old enough and mature enough now to keep my personality separated and use them at the right times, as opposed to what Andrew's referring to and saying some of these people don't even know they're doing it.
Yeah. But I mean,
Well, listen, that's why I'm honest. That's why I get Xanax. I mean, that's the only way that I could function.
But are you still sober? I think I saw you a couple weeks. It was a week and a half ago, a week ago. You said you weren't drinking anymore.
Yeah, I haven't had a drink in a while.
Good for you, man.
Almost a week now, over a week.
So you're just doing the pills straight now to calm down.
Just the pills to calm down. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I overdid it. Last Wednesday was my brother's birthday, so I took him out, and and then I met up with Spencer because Spencer's in town.
Yeah.
And I don't remember meeting up with Spencer at all. I don't remember our dinner. I don't remember anything. I totally blacked out from 4 o'clock till the next morning.
Have you had your stuff checked out, man? I mean, you're all right health wise. Because what you're 29,
yeah, I'm
right?
fine. I mean, I'm pretty healthy. I'm 29. I'm losing a couple pounds. I'm dieting a little. I just I think it's a little stressful. That's all. Life is a little stressful when you're me.
Well, how's life a little stressful? I mean, you're doing what you love to do. How is life stressful?
Yeah, actually, because you're a busy guy, you know, you're probably going 20 directions. Anxiety will do that to you. And sometimes you can just so discombobulated in your mind that you got to do something about it. So some guys, they pop a Xanax and sleep for 10 or 12 hours or longer.
I'm a little obsessive compulsive too, so.
There you go. The OCD will kick in every time too. These are all common traits in the industry, so to speak.
I'm crazy. I'm on a medication.
And then you hear like the guy shot the dog, and then if you're not in the industry, you can't be like, you think this guy's totally nuts. But I'm like, you know what? I kind of see that happening. I kind of see going off the rail like that.
Well, that's why I would, seriously, I don't take offense to this. When I read that story, and I thought of you, man, I was like, if let's just say, Andrew's a good guy, and like there goes the Shannon Burke story. He's doing pills, he's drinking. What's to say that he just goes off the deep end one time and just goes nuts? When you mix pills and alcohol, it's not a good situation at all.
No,
I guess that's what the guy was doing.
The dangerous thing.
No Karen Quinlan or Amy Winehouse, please. Just stay with us.
That thing is really, really crazy.
Yeah, mixing. I mean, I take some, I don't even know what it's called. I've just been on it for.
You don't even know what it's called. That's scary.
I just take it every day to not to be depressed. But if you drink with that, it really messes your emotions up. And luckily I'm just growing up, and I don't like drinking anymore very much. I don't know.
The only pills I mix, 800 milligram Motrin with 200 milligram acetaminophen. That's my mix of pills.
Yeah, because you're sober, right? You don't even drink, right?
No, I've got no vices like that. My vices are everybody's got vices, but I've never been a druggie or an alcoholic, excessive in any amount. I had my party days in college, but other than that, no, not at all.
Well, no, you take that back. I read something the other day you posted on Facebook, you little druggie. You had a addictive habit of sniffing. What was those things? For the cold medicine, you were sniffing.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's true then. And I didn't realize I was doing it. I was quote unquote addicted. I use that word, to nasal spray. And I would go to Walmart. Instead, I used Afrin once when I had a cold and sinus problems, and it opened up my nose. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. I've been suffering for all these months. 9 years later, I got off of that stuff. It was Walmart 4-in-1 nasal spray, whatever they call it. Anyway, it got to the point where the lining in my nose, and I didn't do cocaine or anything like that. It got to the point where the lining in my nose, the membranes got so weak that I was having massive nosebleeds. And after about the fourth gusher, I went to a hospital, and they said, we're going to put silver nitrate in your nose, and we're going to cauterize it. I said, no, you're not. I'm just going to stop this. And they told me that was going to go into rebound, almost like going into a rehab. And it was at the point where I'd have to have a nose spray in my pocket or in my car or next to the bed or at work, or I would panic if my nose stopped up. But here it is. It took me about 2 to 3 weeks to get off of that stuff, but I haven't done it now in almost a year. But yeah, so I'll take that back. I was actually addicted to nose spray for a period of time. Yes, I was.
You ever get tempted in going into CVS?
Nope, not at all. Not at all. I just said, you know what? All I do is think about the 15, 20-minute gushers, and that's all I needed to think about. It set me straight real quick.
I could see you 6'10" on your Harley, circling the CVS like 10 times. Should I? Should I not? Should I? Should I?
Like the Indians, right? Actually, I've got one in the car. It sits there, and I just look at it and laugh. I'm like, man, were you an idiot? All those years, I thought I needed it, and I'm actually a little less hyper now too, because stuff tends to wind you up a little bit with that Sudafed in it.
I say Andrew calms down when he gets a little bit older.
Oh, he will.
Pretty well. We hung out. We went out. We had a couple drinks, and I was pretty good.
A couple?
How many did I drink? Maybe like a 12-pack. But I mean, I was so good.
Yeah, you were good. You're still sane.
All that alcohol stripping the vitamin B right out of your nervous system, brother. So, as long as you're replacing all your B's, you can drink a little bit. That's why guys get the drunken tremors, man. It just rips the vitamin B right out of their body.
Sober guys and radio guys to get hooked on the nose spray, because you kind of get addicted to being able to breathe clearly.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's like not a perfect day. And you know, when you're sleeping, you're only breathing out of one side of your nose anyway. A lot of people don't realize that, but your nose actually switches. Like you can wake up and one side of your nose will be stopped up. You literally only breathe out of one side of your nose at a time when you're sleeping. I never knew that. It's nuts.
Well, now we know something brand new.
There you go.
Hey, well, guess what?
Oh, it is that time. Look at that.
It's about that time to break forth the rhythm and the rhyme. Andrew, thanks for calling in. This has been, I had show notes. That's why I never send the show notes out, because it never goes according to plan. But, I want to thank my co-host today, the one and only Raunch Foxxx, the legend.
In my own mind. Thanks for having me, brother. We'll have to do something again. And when we get to 2 hours, we can actually do something really cool.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, Andrew, thanks for calling in. GFQ Network, check out
Anytime, guys.
his stuff. Amazing stuff. Puts a lot of time and energy into all his shows. Great broadcast he has. And my favorite show, the Free for All, check that out on Friday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Great show. Him and Spencer and Coco. Fabulous show. So check that out. Until next Wednesday, our new time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are out here for now on the JeffAdamsShow.tv. Peace out.
Follow The Jeff Adams Show on these fine social networks. Facebook.com/The Jeff Adams Show. Twitter.com/The Jeff Adams. YouTube, bit.ly/The Jeff Adams Show TV. RSS, bit.ly/TJAS iTunes. All this on the JeffAdamsShow.tv and the TTBnetwork.tv.